Hello, I'm David Ford and I'm Regius Professor of Divinity Emeritus, in other words retired from Cambridge University. And I'm here in the Community of St Anselm in Lambeth Palace at the moment. And I'm here in order to teach the Gospel of John to the Community of St Anselm. And I've been doing that in every one of the 8 years of the community's existence. This is my 8th time here teaching them John's Gospel. And I've seen just wonderful things during that time. Each wave of community I've seen come in from all around the world, from different churches, from different countries, from around the world. And it's been wonderful to see it and to see the lives that have been changed through this as well. And many of them I'm still in touch with. And also I've seen Lambeth Palace changed. I've been a theological advisor to 3 Archbishops of Canterbury, Robert Runcie, George Carey, and now Justin Welby. And I've seen the palace before and after the Community of St Anselm, and they have filled it with fresh life, young life, and also they make a huge contribution to the worship in the palace. So it's wonderful to be here, and what I've been doing in the last 48 hours is to go through the Gospel of John, including that course in discipleship in chapters 13 to 17 of the Gospel of John, where what we've been reflecting on is the way in which John's Gospel, which, by the way, I have just published a commentary on the Gospel of John that took me 20 years, but for 8 of those years, remember, 7 of those years, because it was published last year, I was involved with the Community of St Anselm, and I try to express my gratitude in the acknowledgement. What came out of these fascinating conversations with one community after another, and how the global church has fed into my understanding of the Gospel of John and the conversations I've had within the community. But over the last while, among the many things we've discussed in John has been the farewell discourses, and how they have wave after wave of 3 crucial things, it seems to me, that John sees as the essentials of our discipleship. And one is learning, wave after wave of learning in those chapters, and we are being led into all truth by the Spirit. That's one of the fundamental things in the Gospel of John. And eventually Jesus prays about us being sanctified in the truth. So that's the first thing, is learning as essential to discipleship, and disciple simply means learning. But secondly, there's loving and serving. You know, Jesus washes feet and then says to love one another as he has loved. And that too is in waves, because the next wave of it, when he repeats that command, is with us being friends of Jesus. And then the final wave is in that glorious prayer of Jesus in chapter 17, which for me is the most important chapter in the Bible, actually, where Jesus again prays for unity in love with God and himself and with each other for the sake of the whole world. You can't get more love than that. And the third wave is the waves of prayer, which, he says that we've to pray for anything we ask in his name. In other words, in line with who Jesus is and with what Jesus desires. And he then goes on to pray that amazing prayer in John 17, which I recommend that you, as I've recommended to the community, pray the Lord's Prayer in the light of John 17, and you'll find it takes on all sorts of new dimensions. But just a final thing, somebody asked me, what is the single most important thing in the Gospel of John? What is that? And for me, there's no doubt about what that is. That John's Gospel, again and again, in every chapter, comes to that huge question of who is Jesus? Who Jesus is. All those I ams in the Gospel of John. Jesus is the one who is with us even as we're talking about him now. And John's Gospel wants us, I think, in essence, to meet Jesus and to abide in Jesus. Or as he says at the end of chapter 20, when he's talking about the purpose of his Gospel, he wants us to come and trust, to believe in Jesus as the Son of God, and to have life in his name, to continue to relate to the living Jesus Christ, who is the way, the truth, and the life.